Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Links to the Past Randomizer. The tournament has begun in earnest, and today we have a group match for you in Group AC, JamesFnX versus Pikapals. I am Wolfling0370, and joining me on the mic as my co-commentator for Game 1 is Quizbull. How's it going?
Hello, it's going great. It's a good day for Rando.
So, as terms of what we're got for in terms of what to expect from the seed here, it's pretty much the same as our qualifier stage. It's going to be an open 7-7 to beat Ganon with randomized swords. No bells and whistles added to it, but the loser of the race can add a little twist to the seed if they so choose. We'll get to that a little bit later.
That's right, and this being the first match of a double header between these two racers, you'll get to see the effects that little change has immediately following this race.
Indeed. And of course, the Pikapals being... I should probably preface with this. All of our group stages are broken down into sort of mini brackets, I believe is what you described it. Of this little mini bracket that is Group AC, Pikapals is the first seed and JamesFnX is the fourth seed. That does not directly correlate to their overall seeding, but it's just for this group.
Yeah, so Pikapals was somewhere between 1 and 32 in the qualifier standings, and James was in the bottom 32.
So what do we expect from the seed today?
Well, despite it being a number 1 seed versus a number 4 seed here in the race, both of these runners performed excellently in the qualifiers. And so I expect both of these runners to put in a really good show here, and I expect a pretty close race. Kind of similar to the race that we had just before this with the other half of this particular mini bracket, Sterling Clot and Hayfield A.
So we can start here any moment now.
That's right. We don't know exactly when the start will occur here. This is actually on a bit of a delay. There's a 20-minute delay on the streams as a kind of a anti-cheating measure here. Not that. So we saw the race start about 20 minutes ago, and so we'll see the streams catch up here in just a moment.
All right.
Chat pointing out there's double shovels there in the seed, so maybe, do you think we'll be digging up anything today?
Well, in one of the qualifiers they did, we had three flippers, and the flippers were in Link's house. Maybe we'll have to dig something up as we get started here. And, wow, okay, 300 rupees. That saves them a lot of grinding.
Yeah, that's always something you're looking for in these open mode seeds. To have 300 rupees at the beginning, you have no worries about getting bombs at the shop, and you're over halfway to your Zora money.
Yeah, now, granted, you're going to spend 100 of those on the merchant. And there's a bomb drop right there on the guard pool, the first item. Both of them keep picking it up. And more bombs here, so they're going to save some money buying bombs. That's just really good.
Yeah, it's amazing now. So those tree poles are randomized. Now, one of the new features of the new version of the randomizer, more bombs. But one of the new features of the randomizer is that all the prize packs are back to their original configurations, but the enemies that drop them are randomized.
Yeah, so probably the guards are probably in the slug prize pool, I would say, based on that. I don't remember exactly which enemies have the bombs in their prize pool.
Yeah, it might have been the slugs, and I think the Hinoxes. Oh, the Sank has 300 too!
Alright, that's just all the seed they need in the light world. Or all the money they need in the seed for the light world, at least. What the heck?
Why can't my seeds be this rich?
Map check, 3 crystals. Eastern is one of the 5-6.
It's always nice to see 3 crystals early in the seed, because that means that 3 of the harder dungeons will have your pendants and may or may not be required.
Pikapals setting up for a larger tree pull.
Yeah, but with already 8 bombs, I don't think he decided just against going for the tree pull.
Yeah, again, probably going for one of the higher tiers. And that is an
Ooh.
ether medallion.
Wow.
Oh, we might have an anchor required. It'll depend if that Misery Mine or Turtle Rock requires that medallion to enter. There.
Yeah, not only that, but also whether or not that they're a pendant or a crystal.
Yeah, that would also be a factor. And the crabs just shelling out more 20 rupees. What the? Wow, okay, this seems to be excessively generous with the money and the rupees. Hard piece at the mushroom spot.
Once they get the boomerang or the hook shot, what are the odds are that we're going to have 20 as a stun prize?
No, it's going to be full magic. Just give them that. Let's just go. Alright, first look at Kakariko here on JamesFnX's side. Pikapals will be following shortly. High tree pull is just single rupees, not really worth going for. Still good to know that, so Pikapals can focus on just getting those single enemy kills and pulls to those trees. Couple of bundle zeros, heart container, and 50 more rupees there. And speaking of arrows, and more specifically the bow is progressive if you haven't seen any version 31 seeds lately. So there are 2 out there, and one will be the bow, and then the second one will be the silver arrows.
Yes, and so by logic, both bows are going to be required in order to finish the game, but runners of these caliber are pretty well versed in doing Ganon's Silverless, so they'll only need to find one of them.
Yeah, of course I wouldn't turn my nose up at a free silvers now. It makes several of the boss fights just a joke, Vitreous in particular. And there's our lamp. Oh boy. That's one of the few things you don't want to see early is the lamp. And there's the 100 rupee stash. Our runners already have over 800 rupees, and they haven't even gotten through 5 minutes of the seed yet.
So how many 300 rupees are there in the seed? I think it's maybe 4 or 5.
I think it's 5, yeah. And they already have 2, plus the single 100 there. And more bombs in this chicken house. Oh my goodness. You know, with all these junk items, one might expect this might be an Aga required seed just for Dark World access at this point. We have the lamp, which is an early sign that Aga might be required just for that reason. But for all we know, Aga might be required just for the Ether Medallion, and then nothing else.
Now, of course, we still have the whole South Shore and Sahasrara's Closet and Eastern Palace to check, so we could still find our Dark World access early enough in the seed.
Yeah. Alright, library, what do you got for us today? 20 rupees, not really worth it.
Definitely not coming back for that.
And JamesFnX is going to choose to take a peek at the race game item before committing to it. And it's just a hard piece there.
All right, James is going to be the first to give us our checks down here on the South Shore, looks like. Or... oh, nope, James is going to Sahasrara.
I just now realized, look at our trackers here, which, by the way, Reg is our tracker this evening. Shoutouts to them for doing a good job so far. We just hit the lamp. That's all we found going to Kakariko was the lamp. That's worrying.
Yeah, the lamp bombs and lots of cash.
And a full quiver.
Well, and three hearts, full heart containers, so we're already at 6 hearts.
Alright, let's see if Sahasrara... oh, there's a sword. And another 25 rupees. Hey, Sahasrara, are you going to tell us where our green pendant is?
Well,
James
is
checking.
not interested.
Alright.
Pika doing kind of this bomb strat over here on the mini Moldworms here. Hopefully he doesn't run out. Very nicely
Well
done.
Alright, these 5 items are 4 bombs, refill, another 20 rupees, another 5, the other 5 actually, RPs, and the red boomerang. Alright, so they can check the stun prize. But still, nothing really that important.
I think Pika's going to head over to Ice Rod Cave now.
Makes sense to me.
Oh yeah, Pika doing a good job dodging those crabs. Those crabs do 2 full hearts of damage on green mail, so you don't really think too much about how dangerous those are until you've taken a few deaths to them in some of your seeds, and then you avoid them very well.
Clever use of iframes there. Another heart container for JamesFnX.
That puts us to 7.
Oh, jeez. Oh my goodness, what? So, there's only 3 locations left. It's Agina's Cave, whatever's in Eastern, and whatever's in Escape.
That's right, and I think Pika's going to head over to Agina's area afterward. Did Pika check the dam yet?
I don't know. This is a very barren in Light World, and I'm very concerned about it.
Yeah, you were mentioning that Aga 1 could be our access to Dark World, but we still need another sword and or the cape in order to get past the barrier for that to be a possibility.
Yeah. There's something going on here. I don't know what. But something feels really off about this seed not having any progression in the first 8 minutes other than a sword, a boomerang, and a lamp. And the boomerang hasn't even progression, it's just another item.
Now, the other thing the lamp does in this situation, it does allow you to go all the way through the escape, provided you find the small key here in the first half. You could go all the way to the back room that you would normally try and use the power gloves to get to from the graveyard.
Alright, so the item we do not want to see is the cape, but honestly, I'd be not surprised if it shows up. There's the hook shot.
Wow.
That is nice to have, but it doesn't do too much for us right now.
Yeah, paired with the glove, though, that will get us up Death Mountain and get a whole lot of checks over on the east side.
Agina only having one of the 2 single rupees in the game.
Of course, on the flip side with that hook shot, that does allow for a lot of Dark World explorations, provided you get the Moon Pearl.
Stun prize seems to be just hearts.
Well, certainly not a bad thing. It could always use a fill up.
So far, nothing in Escape either, other than that hook shot.
Yeah, it's not nothing, but it didn't really do much for us in terms of figuring out the logic so far.
Yeah, I can't help but agree with someone in chat here. This is just all the signs of kill Aga across the river. We don't have the means to do Aga right now, but we should have got a lot more progression at this point.
James is setting up a death warp here.
There's an armor. Makes the death warp slightly harder, but the guard still does half a heart. So
it looks like.
Sorry, go on.
No, I was just saying, Pikapal's going to go ahead and dip into Eastern now.
And James, done with the rescue section, is now going to the actual escape section of Hyrule Castle. So one way or the other, we're going to figure out what this seed's got in store for us.
Now, James might run into a dead end here as the Dark Cross. Unless it has the small key in order to get to the door, then that's as far as we can go in the escape.
Oh, you're right. Ooh, let's see what we got here. Again, nothing really that important on Pikapals end, just 10 arrows. And, well, okay,
Ooh,
that's the glove.
wow.
That's important. That's dark. That's Death Mountain access. Which
And
opens up a lot more checks.
not only that, it also gets us to those back 3 chests that we were talking about. Now we know one of them is going to be a key, and I don't think we've seen the map either. So really, there's only one item down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like James is going to opt to go up the mountain rather than check that last item.
I mean, it makes sense for the short term. You're going for item density at this point.
Exactly. I think there's about 9 items they can get. There's the 7 on East Death Mountain, and then there's the 2 that'll be accessible from the Old Man and Spectacle Rock.
Not to mention the information getting the item both on Floating Island as well as on top of Spectacle Rock.
Oh, and Spiral Cave, so one more. So that brings our total up to 10. 10 acquirable and 12 visible.
And Pikapals has already found all the items here. We missed the third one, but it seems that it's nothing of importance. So whatever's up here on the mountain is where we need to find.
I think Pikapals is making a good heads-up play here. Already halfway into the dungeon, going to go ahead and get the big key, which appears to be in its vanilla location, so that on the return trip, all he has to do is come in and go mode the dungeon.
That makes perfect sense. Alright, so let's see what's on Special Rock here. Master Sword.
Ooh. Now we are going to need the mirror to get that.
And there's the Moon Pearl.
There it is.
So we just need either the hammer to show up and then we have Darkhold access. Or we need the cape or the mirror for Aga access to Dark World.
Right, and of course with all those items on the east side of Death Mountain, odds are one of those will be showing up.
Well, it has to. There's nothing left except for the one chest in the back of Escape, as well as actually Zora. Now that I think about it.
That'd be a pretty trolly location for something progressive at this point, sending you all the way up here at take you all the way back down the mountain.
Now, Zora was not in logic until we had the glove. The money aside, glove is all that matters for Zora, because the game assumes we can just grind money, which, with the Hoarder Crabs having 20 rubies, pretty easy to do. Alright, so this is the moment of truth here. Paradox Cave coming up for JamesFnX.
Will it be Aga 1 access or will it be Dark World access?
I'm actually hoping that it's Titan's Mitts here in Paradox Cave.
Yeah, that would completely blow the seat open.
Not only that, but because of where James is, he can check Hookshot Cave and Super Bunny Cave, as well as the medallion requirement for Turtle Rock.
Right, because we know that if it is Ether, we are going to have to do Aga 1 anyway.
Exactly.
Now, does James know that? Did James go and look at the medallion on the lumberjack ledge?
I don't know.
I don't think he did. Wow.
So unless the hammer's on Zora or in the back of Escape, this is an Aga required seed. Has to be.
Or I think Spiral Cave is the last thing we can look at.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot about that. There's 3 single items that can prevent this seed from being there. Odds are one of them is the cape. Because that just seals the deal of this being a forced Aga. Pikapals going to the back of Escape now, getting the glove. We'll see if Pikapals decides to check the last item in the Sanctuary drop down.
Oh, and there's the fairy drop.
Yeah, so that's on the Beeries. It's another 5 rupee. Okay, I guess I was wrong. I think there must have been 4 in the pool. I know there's only 2 singles. I think they're gonna bolt straight to aggro at this point.
Yeah, it looks like that's where James is thinking about going now. Now,
Yeah, this is
Pikapals
aggro.
is going to check that last item there. So let's see if this is something.
Is Aga required? One item here could decide it. The map, small key, and the Quake medallion.
Wow.
Quake could be required. We won't know until much later. But yeah, it's only Zora now that could have the hammer. And given that this is an Agassi for Darkwold access, it's more likely that it's the cape. Just to give you options in terms of how you would go up the tower.
Looks like Pika is just going to be retracing James's steps here, going up the mountain himself. I must say, James is making really good use of that red boomerang, despite the fact that it is the many people consider the less valuable boomerang.
Yeah. It's mostly because of the particle effects make it lag a little bit more. But it has more range, which is a nice drawback. Plus, at this stage, it's just... Well, no, we can use the hookshot for stunning. But I don't think anyone's going to turn their nose up to having extra parts for this place. This is kind of a difficult climb with Master Sword. But we do have the blue mail, which makes things easier as well. But these red guards are very aggressive. And those red guards have the 4-bomb pack. So I think they are part of that Hinox prize pool.
Pikapal setting up for this bomb jump here. See if we get it.
Meanwhile, James pushing the guards. Alright, folks, there's a little mini game we like to play here when it comes to an Agassi. Ago is set to throw an orange shot, and then either an orange or a blue shot 3 times, and then shoot lightning. Worst case scenario is we get 15 of those blue shots. How many do you think we're gonna get tonight, folks? I'm gonna say we're only gonna have 2.
Aghanim's not been too kind to me recently, so I'm gonna stick to about 5.
Alright, 5. So 6 reflected orange shots will defeat Aga 1 here. And Aga 2 as well, but Aga 2 is a little bit easier. We'll get to that later. There's one of those blue shots. We don't want to see those folks, because as you can see, we can't reflect those into Aga to deal damage. 3 in the first cycle. Oof.
Wow, and that is losing 3 coin flips in a row.
Yep. Now, Pikapals will have the same RNG go when they eventually get to the top of the tower. So that was another 2 hits, it looks like. At the end of each of this 5-segment volley, the first shot being a guaranteed orange. There's 5.
Alright, no more.
Yeah, and at the end of this, Ganon Aghanim rather, sorry, shoots lightning down, and that lightning is truly random. All right, one more. And it was 5. Wow,
Hey,
you called
5.
it.
Wow. Hey, yeah, wow. Well, we'll play another game later, and I'm sure I'll be way off on that one.
All right, our first look at Dark World here. And on the pyramid is the single arrow. No one wants to pick that up. I don't blame anyone. Now, does James go to check catfish while they are over here?
Well, looks like he's going to skip it for now. And so, of course, that is the way that you can use the hook shot to get pretty much full Dark World access. And oh, I saw a pendant on Misery Mire.
Pendant on ice, and green pendant was in Thieves Town. And I believe our other 5-6 was Skull Woods.
Okay, so unless there's progression inside Misery Mire somewhere, the only medallion we're going to have to worry about is the one that is on Turtle Rock. So if that's Ether, then we're going to have to go back and pick up the Ether medallion from the Lumberjack Cave.
It also means that Turtle Rock would be 100% boots locked, which means we'll have to find our boots somewhere. And for all we know, they can be required as anyway because of Desert Palace. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, it's fine. So just if Turtle Rock is boots locked, sometimes that's a good thing, especially if you needed to defeat Aghanim to get into the Dark World. Then you kind of want the ledger item to be required because it means your boots are coming up somewhere in the seed early. All right, James here in Skull Woods. There was a logic change recently. People might remember that there was a particular room in here that always had a key no matter what. Well, that is no longer the case, and so now James is clearing this dungeon in such a way that he's not going to lock himself behind that door, because otherwise you have to save and quit.
Unfortunately, the seed is one of those that we don't know enough of the seed to make an accurate description of what they want from us. It could still be we know it's an Aga seed. Could be Ped. Because, well, the Ice Rod, one of the most, for lack of a better word, annoying items to find in Randomizer is out there somewhere, and we need it. It cannot be on Trinex, it cannot be in Ganon's Tower, but it can be literally anywhere else. And I like the play from James, checking this chest first. And finding the Cadence of Mario, one of the 2 items here in Skull Woods, pays out.
Yep, and we saw Red Rupee in the other room, and so this is pretty much all that he needs out of this here, because he can't find he doesn't have the fire rod yet, so he's going to be leaving anyway.
Yep, small key in that chest. So I'm not even remotely considering the fact this could be a pet Aga seed right now. And one of the major reasons for that is one of our other means of travel across the overworld is the flute. And we need the flute to enter Misery Mire, but without it, Pet might as well be dead in the water.
Well, between Village of Outcasts here and the
Fire Rod.
Never mind. There it is. I was saying, between the Village of Outcasts and Hype Cave, a little further down the pathway, there's lots of checks that James can do here.
James does see the Skullwoods to Crystal. And it seems I got it wrong where our other 5-6 was. It looks like it was actually... actually, I missed it.
Looks like we have Swamp Palace marked as the other red crystal.
Looks to be the case. Regardless, we know where our crystals are.
Yeah, chat pointing out that that was a vanilla 300 rupee chest there in the C-shaped house.
And there's the hammer, which solidifies that this was an Agaseed. Kinda need that. Oh, actually, no, it doesn't. Zora could still have the Titan's map. But regardless, we needed to have Darkwood access to get to that hammer.
Yeah, with that hammer in hand, James, I think, is a little more comfortable with checking Thieves Town here, knowing that he'll be able to loot all the chests. Now, that does depend on certain key configurations of this dungeon.
Speaking of small keys. Alright, Pikapals now in the Dark World.
Pikapal's also saying no thank you to that single arrow.
Oh, the mirror has been found on James. Which means this pendant Thieves Town is actually already paying out. We needed that mirror for Swamp Palace.
And the next time James goes up Death Mountain, there's a free Tempered Sword waiting for him on Spectacle Rock.
Indeed. And not to mention the fact that that cleans up the whole Zora region as well, because you can do Catfish, Mirror, check the Waterfall, check Zora. Well, we could check the Waterfall if we had flippers. But, yeah, details.
Yeah, James will probably wait until those flippers show up before going there.
Makes sense to me. Entering South Hyrule now, we'll see what JamesFnX finds over here. Nine digs for 3 bombs. Not really worth picking up, just gonna walk away.
Yeah, I think that's like the 5th or 6th 3-bomb drop that we've seen this seed, so I don't blame him for being sick of those.
Nor I, of how barren our light world was. Case Alpha Grove, also known as K45, has a heart container today. Choosing to leave it behind. Doesn't really need the help.
Yeah, with the amount of hearts they have, what is it? They both have 8 or 9 hearts at this point, so that's plenty for runners of this level.
Yeah, plus the double defense from Blue Mail. So they essentially have 16 hearts, if you want to think of it that way. More than enough to survive at least a couple hits of Ganon.
Alright, James heading over to Hype Cave. Are we going to have a Hype Cave this time?
We had a pretty hyped one in the race that came before. Or this on Speed Gaming 2. Let's see if it lives up to its legacy or its more current reputation of not being that great.
Titans. Titans.
That's good. That's really good. Kana Burna.
Blue King.
Heart container. 3 more bombs. 20 rupees. Alright, so they have an invincibility and they got the Titan Smiths. I'd say that's pretty good. I'd give that a solid 7.
Yeah, 6 or 7 out of 10, I think.
Well, they need those Titan Smiths. There's no way around it. and James wisely saving putting on the light world overworld. That's one of the two things that happens when you have the mirror and Aghanim defeated. Aghanim, first off, makes the enemies a lot more difficult in the light world. So you'll see a bunch of guards over in the eastern area. And also, with the mirror in hand and Aghanim defeated, if you save and quit in the Dark World, you'll be on top of the pyramid. Which is quite annoying, honestly. You don't really want to be up there sometimes.
Yeah, so now James is heading back up to Death Mountain here. We're going to go ahead and get that Tempered Sword off of Spectacle Rock. Probably clear out Hera while we're here.
Yeah, and then
see.
I would expect James to, after getting the Tempered Sword, after finishing Hera, but Silver Bunny Cave, Hookshot Cave, check the medallion. And if it's Ether, we know that this was just like Aga locked everything. He locked our Dark World access, he locked out Turtle Rock.
Now, if the medallion requirement is Quake by any chance, then we know that James is going to have to go and finish checking the escape. And that's one of those locations that he orphaned pretty early on, and we may not see him go back to it for a little while.
And the big key is in the basement. Oh, the trap towel hit him. That's
Coffee break denied.
Someone asking a pretty good question, chat. Can James do Spike Cave with Berna? Yes. In fact, that is where the Cane of Berna is normally, and it's a little bit more magic efficient than the cave, so with the amount of health that James has, it is entirely possible to make the run.
Now, logic will also allow you to do the Spike Cave with the cape as well, and also if you have a bottle for a potion and a certain number of hearts, it can actually be in logic.
So James is opting to get the big key here. There is actually an allowed trick known as Harapop to just skip up to the upper floors, but James is pretty much dead set on checking the big chest. To which I don't blame. They could have our item.
And the other thing is, it's a bit harder to set up the Harapop when you don't have the boots.
That is true. That is also true. And Pikapals is actually gonna go full on into this Thieves Town. There's a couple items still left in here.
Yeah, James found 2 of the 4 items in Thieves Town in the front 4, and so now Pikapals is going to figure out what the other 2 are. And I remember during qualifiers, one of the seeds did actually manage to troll a few runners by having a couple of really good items at the beginning and then Fire Rod in the big chest.
I think I remember watching that one. Alright. Moldarm getting a spin off, one more slash, and down goes this, who is arguably the most annoying boss in Link of the Past. Only has the compass on him. So I think James leaving the map, the big chest behind had the map, so had both items. So
yeah, it was piece of heart downstairs in the cage, and then 20 rupees in the chest in front of the big chest.
So that's our first crystal on the board at 35, nearly 36 minutes in. There's our third item here in Thieves Town. It's a heart piece.
And we have the small key, so Pikapals is going to check this chest. It could have another dungeon item, or it could have a map or compass.
Noting the floating item, there's only 3 bombs, and it's the Book of Medora.
Interesting.
That's access to desert. And also access to Ether and Bombos, which could also have items on them. And it is
Ooh, it's
Ether and
Ether.
Turtle Rock. So Aga was super required this seed. Even if we found a way to break the Aga 1 lock on the Light World, we still had to fight him to enter Turtle Rock. And actually, we found the Time Smiths in Hera. Or no, in... Where did we
Hype
find
Cave.
that?
Hype Cave.
So yeah, there was no way around Aga. He was super hard required this seed.
Yeah,
Now, the
because
question is, where are
the
our
hammer was in
boots?
the brewery. So, yeah, that is the last thing we need in order to actually get the Ether Medallion. Now, Pikapals went all the way through and defeated Blind, and so Sahasrara is going to have an item now that Pikapals is going to be able to see.
Oh, if Chad is right, James does not know Ether is in the Lumberjack drop-down. That's an interesting development. Finding the mushroom as well. And James walking over, gonna check Spike Cave as well. Looking for some health. Does find a couple extra hearts. Should have the magic now to survive. And there's one
Ooh.
of our 2 bows. So that puts Eastern and Palace of Darkness both in logic and full clearable. And
Yeah,
James is heading straight there, it looks like.
Right, starting in the Dark World, you'll be able to do the Palace of Darkness and then just mirror back and get Eastern 1-2 combo.
Yeah, this also works out because all those guards guarding the way to Eastern Palace are generally in around the area just to the south of where Sahasrara is. So this also avoids a lot of very aggressive guards, including guards that just aggro as soon as they're on screen. And there's quite a few of them. I think there's like 2 or 3. So the real question... Sorry,
James is going to have to pay 110 rupees to Kiki the money. Do you think they have the spare change to pull this off?
They have enough spare change to get hit like 30 times. And then some. So the question I want to throw out there is how soon do we need to find our boots? Because for all we know, Turtle Rock could have progression which is required for Swamp Palace. We could have the flippers in Turtle Rock.
Although if you want to be really evil, the boots could be on the pedestal.
That would imply we would need to find the flute first, which could also be in Turtle Rock as well. Let's see what's on Bombo's tablet here on Pikapals then. It's the bug catching net. Not really a helpful item, but could let him catch some fairies as a safety. Heading now over to Desert. This seems like a fun enough play, doing Desert Palace, using that book. And if the boots are in Desert Palace, this is huge. Actually, no. If the boots or the flute are in here, this is huge.
Or pretty much any progression item. That means that James has to go all the way back to Thieves Town and get the book in order to progress the seed.
Well, if James finds the flute elsewhere, James could backdoor into Desert Palace. But if the flute is here, and we need the flute to go to Misery Mire region for our next bit of progression, then that's when James will have to dive the rest of Thieves Town. And when will he do that? So my eyes are on Pikapals right now. I want to see what's in this Desert Palace. But you shouldn't discount James. They're also making checks. Oh, never mind. We're safe.
Yeah, because it was map and compass over here. By logic, that means the big key's on the torch, and that one of the items is in the big chest. Ooh, flippers!
Which means there's nothing really locking Turtle Rock. There's nothing behind Turtle Rock that we really care about, except for the silvers and maybe the ice rod. Because we know Boost can't be in there now. That's 100% in the fact.
And the flipper's now opening up the Swamp Palace, and there's 6 whole items in there to be had.
And that also puts Pyramid Fairy in logic as well. So it comes down to, where do our runners want to go?
Pikapals checking this Ether Medallion.
The other book check leads to a Heartbeat, so the book isn't necessarily required. That being said, if our flute is not accessible, e.g. in Gan's Tower, that book is still required for James to get into Desert. Alright, both our runners on the Tempered Sword now.
Oh, Pikapals.
Alright. Alright, Pikapal's doing the Harapod strat. Meanwhile, James looks to be heading to the boss. I don't think we saw anything of importance here in House of Darkness. Do you, Quiz?
No, I didn't. Now I didn't see what was going on in the dark maze because I was checking out Pikapals setting up that Harapod. So, but if there was nothing else of meaning there, then we're just going to have to see if Helmasaur has something for us today.
So it really comes down to whether or not the flute is in play at some point. Because there is an off chance, a very long chance, that we still have a Ped seed. Ped being the Ice Rod. Flippers, or the flutes in Turtle Rock. It's a very long shot, of course, but those who want to see a Ped Agassi today are hoping for that dream, I would presume. I honestly don't. Aga's bad enough.
Yeah, since I actually do run this game, I tend to root for good things for our runners.
And I do play this casually as well on my own time.
All right, James is finishing off King Helmasaur. Just a spin and a couple slashes will do it.
And let's see what Helmasaur King has. It's just the map.
Okay, so we did get all of our items ahead of time.
And we know that all the items in Eastern are accounted for. We have not seen Swamp yet. We know Desert is boots locked. Hard boots locked. The Stone has the book. Ice Palace hasn't been checked. Mire we can't get to yet. And Turtle Rock we can't get to. And something I should also mention here, Pet could just very well be dead. With the exception of the Ice Rod. Because... yeah, the Ice Rod's the only guaranteed possibility, if you will. Because if Ether is the other medallion required for entering Misery Mire... that was a poor way to word it, I'm sorry. But if Misery Mire is locked by Ether, then really the boots can't be on pedestal either.
Well, fortunately for Pikapals, it looks like he is also going to be checking Spike Cave, and will shortly be picking up the bow.
Yeah, right now the bow is the most recent point of logic to follow. After that is the flippers. And if I were... ooh, there's a couple of options here, actually. Flippers opens up Ice Palace. It opens up checking the entirety of the water checks that we have been ignoring this whole time. And it opens up Swamp. Now, there is, of course, a fourth option here, and that is something that our runner, neither runner has done. Follow the Titan's Mitts and go check the Smith Chain and Hammer Pegs.
Now, for up to me, I would be more inclined to go ahead and do Swamp, even though you would probably do the left side of Swamp. There are 6 whole items to be had inside of the Swamp Palace, and it's a required crystal anyway. And it does, in fact, lead to your 5-6 chain, so in reality, it's kind of like 8 items all concentrated in one location.
Yeah, that is actually what I would be doing. I would do Swamp, full clear it, go north to the Super Bomb, and if I didn't find anything there, I would warp to Light World, dive into the lake, check the island, and then do the flippers checks before I head into Ice Palace. Green Pendant Tournament is just for a bottle, but that is a noteworthy thing. That is our first bottle. Stick Kid now could have something.
And what a crazy way to put the Sick Kid in the logic if that's the only bottle that's available.
And Boots, as Chad's saying, could be on Sick Kid. Alright. Novice Knights are coming up now for James. Pretty straightforward fight with the bow. Mainly just spacing your shots so that you can get the quick kill. See if either runner gets it. Ah, James is setting up for the bottom right setup. Oh, I think James fired one too many arrows.
Yeah, but he still gets the Armos Knights down.
Yeah. Ideally, you don't want to ever see... in a quick kill, you don't ever want to see a red Armos. Because the red Armos gets its health back. So it takes 3 more shots to kill. And if you set it up to take 2 hits, to be a 1 shot to defeat, and you, well, don't get the quick kill, then it just gets all of its health back. Not too much of a time loss, but still one all the same.
Okay,
and James is staying in Dark World, going around the long way through the hedge maze.
Yeah, but I think this is him setting up for a catfish check. So rather than going down to Lake Hylia and doing the flipper checks that way, I think what James wants to do is to go up here. The other thing is they have the mushroom, and neither runner has turned it in yet. And so James might be turning in that mushroom, and then going to catfish, and then mirroring back to do all the flippers checks.
I've questioned the fact that with the save quit, wouldn't it be faster to start on the pyramid than walk back to the maze?
Well, it's an interesting question because there was a recent hotfix applied to the randomizer that adds an extra 3-second delay every time you save and quit. So now they were kind of close to one another, and I haven't timed it out myself, but it could have gone either way.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, did I? And not turning the mushroom yet, I can see the validity of that play because with the Cadence Maria and the hammer, that could be a fake powder play coming up, and then turn it in later. Catfish is holding 20 rupees. Why is it even that behind? We have more than enough money to handle the rest of the seed. Get 70 more. This seed really had a lot of... The seed seems very dungeon heavy in terms of its progression. There wasn't a lot of progression in the overworld. And that is a heart piece on Zora Ledge. We'll see what Zora himself has in a moment. And just because we got a lot of money does not necessarily mean that Zora was in logic. Rupees are not considering the logic algorithm at all. And case in point,
more bombs.
Despite getting 300 rupees at the start of the seed, Zora didn't have anything.
Okay, now this looks like a swamp play.
Yeah, I agree. This is definitely a swamp play. Probably... Yeah, that would probably be what they would do. So I'm seeing a very interesting route that James could take here. I'm not sure if James will take the full route, but it's swamp, goes north, check the super bomb checks, go east from the pyramid, go into the shallows next to the stake bridge, mirror to check Hobo, go back to the portal, swim down to Floating Island and check that as well, and then go into ice. We'll see if they take that line, but that seems like a fairly efficient way to go about routing the rest of the southeastern Dark World.
Yep, sounds like a good plan. Of course, all of this gets thrown to the wayside if we find the flute.
Do you really want to find the flute though in this sort of see with the dungeons the way they are? That's the question I had to throw out there, because as soon as we find the flute, pretty much anything that's locking this seed could be on pedestal, with the exception of the boots in the event that Ether is required to enter Misery Mire.
Well, I'm not saying that I want the flute to show its face. I'm just saying that every time that I need one item to finish the seed, I find the item that opens up everything else for check. And so in this case, it's the flute that would open everything else up, and you'd have to go ahead and check all the other stuff.
And there's still, of course, the book lurking in the back of our minds, but not James's mind. Also, I don't think James realizes... I don't even remember James has checked the pedestal anymore. Or not the pedestal, at Lumberjack Ledge. I want to say that he did not check the pedestal, actually. Or, he's saying pedestal, duh! I
No,
don't think he's checked the
I
lumberjack.
know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. It was on Pikapals' side that we saw that it was the Ether Medallion, but I don't think James ever made it up there. I think he opted for a pathway that came south from Kakariko into the Lost Woods, and so he never went by the lumberjack's hut.
Well, Pikapals could check pedestal when eventually one of these two runners decides to go and get the Skull Woods taken off the map. Because we still have that crystal lurking in the very near future.
Yeah, but it's pretty low priority for both of these runners because both runners have gone into Skull Woods already, cleared the two items out of it, and so the only thing they have left to do is just go and kill Mothula. So they're probably going to put that off until the last possible minute.
I wouldn't be surprised if Pikapals did it when checking the gloves. Just to get it out of the way so you don't have to go back over that area. But also, in this situation that Pikapals in, Pikapals, before going into the back of Skull Woods, could mirror and check the pedestal. And have that information that know this is here, and if it's anything important, we need to go start doing pendant dungeons. For all we know, the boots could be on ped, the ice rock can be on ped. Never mind.
Oh, never mind. Speak and it shall appear.
So now the only thing that could be on ped is the boots. And it's only if Ether is not required to enter Misery Mire. There's the boot! What the? Well, actually, no. That's not... What the... What is with me tonight? Alright, so James will probably check Ether to make sure it's... Or check Misery Mire down to make sure it's not Ether. And then we'll know from our point of view that Ped is dead. But if it's not... Oh, actually... Yeah. What if it's not Ether, then... Boots could be on Ped. And if Argus is Ether, we know Ether is on Lumberjack Ledge. Well, we know it, James doesn't. Pikapals defeating most Knights as James puts the finishing touches on Argus. So, James doesn't know it, but it's boots for go mode. Where those boots are, who knows at this point.
Now, I didn't pay careful attention. Did we find the compass in Swamp Palace? Because we did find the map there on Argus. If we have the compass, then he is orphaning the big chest in Swamp Palace.
The big key was in next to Ice Rod, so he's at least foregoing 2 items. We know this.
And he didn't check the left side either, did he?
There's the cape.
Ooh, wow.
So, this is a Super Bomb play. Pretty sure. No! This is going to walk over to... the Kakariko from the south. Alright, so we're gonna get our flute online here for James in just a little bit. And yeah, those red guards are super aggressive and are just barely... and you're just barely faster than them. So I think there's no surprise here. James is going to check Ether. Or the requirement for... yeah, the medallion requirement for Misery Mire. Why am I saying that it's Ether already? I guess I want it to be Ether, so this is not a ped seed. I don't know.
That and the other thing is James is thinking that this is his only way into Desert Palace
Yeah,
because he
but
doesn't have the book yet.
We know the book's in Thieves Town, but we also know that the book didn't really lead to anything. Alright, I want a truth here. Misery Mire requires the Quake Medallion, which is in the back of Escape, the one item that James has left behind.
Now, Pikapals is going to find his flute here. Oh, and there's Red Mail. Pikapals is going to find the flute, will probably come and do the same thing, and will probably dip into Misery Mire. And so if we find progression there in the form of the boots or anything else, really, Pikapals could pull into the lead.
Just having that one loose end tidied up that is the Quake Medallion, it just immediately gives Pikapals just a minor edge. Now granted, we don't know if there's anything of importance behind Misery Mire. For all we know, it could be completely barren and the pedestal's nothing. But Pet is alive and that's what matters right now. Our boots could be on pedestal and it's the only thing that matters. And right now, the only person that's in a situation to check is Pikapals. But I don't think he's going to check that pedestal right away. Alright, James is leaving, knowing that that both items in Desert are boots locked. Checkerboard Cave is the last check James can make in this region. We'll see if Pikapals doubles back into Swamp in a moment here. Because if the boots are here, that seals the fate of the seed, really. That puts Pika in a go mode. Alright.
And spying Pikapals' inventory there, it does look like that there was not the compass has not been found yet, so there are 2 items left.
And as a reminder, chat, Pika does know that Ether is on Lumberjack Ledge, so that would put him in a go mode state. He's going back in. Our boots could be anywhere except Desert or Turtle Rock. Both are boots locked by this seed. Desert Torch has the big key. Ether Medallion is on Lumberjack Ledge. Pikapals has cited the Ether Medallion earlier in this seed. James has not. Pikapals also has the book, which means if it's on pedestal, Pikapals can check it and then start prioritizing the pendant dungeons. There's the Bombos Medallion. So, James has left behind all 3 medallions, not knowing where any of them are. That, I find, is quite humorous, honestly.
Well, it's not going to be too humorous for James when he figures out that he's going to need Ether, and he's abandoned it on the Lumberjack Cave.
Indeed. So I'd say there is no definitive lead until go mode, of course. That goes without saying. But in terms of having an advantage, James had the advantage going forward with the items, but now it has slowly leaned into Pikapal's favor.
And of course, the moment Pikapals finds those boots, then we'll know that the lead is his.
Yes. Alright, time for the Mafia fight. Both items in Scobo's have been claimed. Compass. For Pikapals. Last item is right here in this chest for Pikapals. It is only 20 rupees.
Red, but not the right one.
James is safe from having to double dip Swamp. Pika making the play over to Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah, and this was another thing that James had left behind, and so we'll see if this actually leads somewhere. Did Pika actually... Pika hasn't activated the flute yet, correct?
No.
Okay, so Pika would not have gone over to check the sick kid either at this point.
Correct. And as a reminder, folks, the one and only bottle we have found thus far was on the green pendant turn-in. And I when I said that, ow.
Pikapal's showing off one of the nice things about having to defeat Iga1 early is you can just mirror back to Light World and then immediately mirror back to Dark World for this little red bomb shortcut.
Alright. Moment of truth. Is the Super Bomb the answer? Piece of heart. One of the 3 shields. We had a different one on James' side. So it wasn't Super Bomb. So it could be on the Mushroom, it could be on the Smith Chain, could be on Ped still. Could be an Ice Palace.
And speaking of Smith Chain, I think James is heading that way now.
And James with all of the crystals that are not locked by those boots.
Pikapal's going ahead and turning in that mushroom.
And setting up this warp trick here, which forces a mirror bonk, which triggers the item yet. And it's only 3 bombs here.
Yet another 3 bombs.
Lets the gold be out, gets a blue potion. Hammer pegs. Has the boots!
There it is!
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now in no mode. James is not, though, in go mode. He doesn't know where the Ether Medallion is. Ether is on Lumberjack. Now, with those boots, actually, he's right near Bonk Rocks. He's right near Kingston. He might check Lumberjack as a blind check and just get Ether then. The lead has changed suddenly back into James's favor.
I mean, it's all going to depend on when Pikapals makes his way back to Kakariko Village to activate that flute. If Pikapals activates the flute and then checks Sick Kid and then starts his blacksmith chain, then he'll immediately be in go mode as soon as he does that. And James is doing the fake powder trick. Just empty your magic, try to use the red cane, and then switch over to mushroom real quick, and you'll throw powder. All that for a piece of heart.
Oh, that is a good point in the chat. Pika could be misled by the Quake Medallion and Denner Misery Meyer thinking the boots are in there.
I mean, both are valid plays.
If I were in Pikapal's shoe, I wouldn't isolate the Smiths. Simply because you're already there, you might as well get them taken care of. And that would work out for him. We'll see if that's actually the case.
And that's James's first bottle, so we might have nearly synchronized sick kid checks here.
Sick kid can't have anything of too much importance.
Just a little piece of love.
Turning in the mushroom now. Pikapals getting the fleet online. Taking it. Gonna drink the red potion to get a blue. Green first to fill out the magic, makes sense. Sick kid turning now for Pikapals. Alright, Pikapals, come on. Don't flute away. Don't flute away.
Yeah, it looks like he's going up to the warp.
James is going into desert.
I mean, it makes sense. It's a crystal.
This is getting... Yes, but... Oh, now I keep wondering when James will do ether. I mean, this is a race at this point. Yeah, getting the frog. We'll see that it's getting the hammer out. This is a hammer plate check. Pikapals will be getting in the boost and will be in go mode in just a few short moments. But James doesn't know the ether medallion is waiting for him at Lumberjack Ledge. So really, James has a small lead, but he'll bleed time the longer he waits to check that. And he doesn't have much of a time advantage as is. As there is the boost for Pikapals. Pikapals at 1 hour 14 minutes is in go mode. He knows where the ether medallion is to finish the seed. Gonna check the Smiths in case it's the bow. Oh, please, Pika, don't tell me you forgot that ether medallion was on the pyramid. Now,
I think his portal was just too close to the door frame to avoid it.
Yeah, so
he's just
probably do Skullwoods, get the ether medallion, then desert or TR done. No, he's gonna go straight for the ether medallion first. Makes more sense this way. I don't know.
I think he was just so excited that he just wanted to do it as soon as possible.
There we go. Ether medallion is about to be picked for Pikapals. And James needs to make a decision right now. The flute is coming out. So it's actually in James's favor right now, still.
Yeah, he's got a 2-dungeon lead, but now at this point, every second he does not go to Lumberjack is a second that he is losing to Pikapals.
That's a time sink. He's going into Thieves Town to check what's in here, thinking the ether medallion is something he left behind. And here's the worst part. He's left left side swap alone as well. And on top of that, also the back of escape. And if he checks back of escape before checking Lumberjack Ledge, that's the game because he's probably going to check the Mire hoping Ether's there. He really does not want to we really don't want him to see Quake before Ether. Alright. Mafia being fought right now. Alright, Pikapals. Dodging a bullet there. 2 dungeons remain. Desert Palace and Turtle Rock. And this dip in the Thieves Town is proving to be the burn that Pikapals needs to pull ahead here. Because we know where...
He's already done half a desert.
Yeah, he knows where the big key is. He just has to go pick it up and mirror. So this is going to be flute to 6. Get to go into the back. And then it's flute to 1, go up the Turtle Rock. This entire advantage Pikapals had is simply because he had the foresight to check Lumberjack Ledge first. One of the first things he did this seed. There's the big key. Here comes the mirror. No? You gonna walk out? Yeah, I was surprised you... Okay.
I think he's just so excited to be in go mode.
Yeah, I think he's panicking a little bit. Alright, here comes the blind fight for James. We know this is gonna lead to nothing. Yeah, really, there's a lot of lessons to be learned here, but the lesson I'm going to take from this is don't discount doing your eye checks. Because even if you can't get something, the information is almost well worth it in the late game routing. Like, if that had been nothing, then Pikapals knew not to go up anywhere near Lumberjack anymore in the future.
Yeah, I know for me personally, I always like to route that Lumberjack cave in. I think one of the qualifiers it had the hook shot, which became a real major advantage later in the seed.
And here we go.
Excellent Land Molus fight.
And that is Crystal 6. James is now going over to check up here. And we have suddenly a very close race.
Oh, he's gonna look first, though.
That will cost a little bit of time. And a mirror block as well. Pikapals is in the lead, but it's by mere seconds. But it is slowly being bled out as James now realizes, right here and now, that the Ether Medallion was waiting for him on Lumberjack Ledge this whole time.
Oh no, he got sucked back to Dark World.
It's fine, the bushes will bonk him back, and he'll just walk the portal normally. James is now maybe 30 seconds behind. The entire mountain climb behind Pikapals, rather.
So assuming both of these runners have a similar route through Turtle Rock, this could come down to a left side versus right side Ganon Tower climb.
It could. All right, 1:21:47 is the time when Pikapals open Turtle Rock. We'll use that as a measuring system to figure out how much of a lead he has currently over James. Routing is no longer an equation here, it's purely execution. One 42:40, nearly a whole minute difference here.
So at this late in the game, it's that's not an insurmountable lead to overcome, but he may be relying on one or two missteps by Pikapals.
And given how efficient Pikapal's routing is, I highly doubt there's going to be that many missteps.
So really all it's going to come down to is the Ganon Tower Big Key game.
Yes.
Well, we found the big key there, which is nice. That means we don't have to go all the way through the lava chest.
I don't think we've seen the shovel, have we?
No, I don't think we've seen the shovel in the item pool, but we did see it twice on the hash.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, shoutouts to our sprite creators, the bunny sprite for that Pikachu being a Bidoof.
I know a joke regarding that. I'm not gonna say it though, because it's admittedly just as annoying as some of the little health warnings of the older games. Alright, second half of Turtle Rock now for Pikapals. Has to check one of the big chests in case things go bad. And 2 keys! That's important to note, 2 keys! He can go straight to Helmos, or bleh. Why did I say Helmosaur King? Straight to Trinex!
Yeah, and that's actually one of the reasons you always want to check the big chest here in Turtle Rock, because it is a valid place for the last small key as opposed to being on Laser Bridge.
We didn't have a vanilla big key. Alright. And you know, folks, we don't have much time here, so We're about to see the Trinex fight. This would be about the time I would explain the official game, but unfortunately the official game is down. For our tradition here with the Link to the Past randomizer.
Well, despite that, we can still play the game. So we'll start this off here in just a moment, as soon as this fight's over.
Not a good spot for Trinex to die for phase 1. Very difficult to get a double. Yeah. Ooh, and Pikapals could have nearly died there. But yeah, I can see the guesses pouring in, so I'll go and explain if anyone new here. There are 22 chests in Ganon's Tower, only one of which contains our big key we need to ascend. Give us a number in chat that tells us where you think the big key is going to be. Quizball, I'm going to give the first guess to you.
All right. Well, I already nailed it with the blue balls with 5. So let me see if we can do a number 5 as well on the chests.
As soon as we got James's feedback, I'm going to say that it's going to be. You know what? I'm going to say this. It's going to be. I want it in Hope Room. I don't care which chest. I just want it in Hope Room.
Hope Room? All right. A
just
1
give
or
us
a 2?
Big Key, let's go.
That certainly makes things a little bit more interesting, and that's usually the one I pick.
Alright, starting with Hope Room. If we were playing the game, guesses would now be closed. Heart piece.
Okay.
Heart container.
Alright, first 2 are out.
James now with the 7th crystal in hand. And really, there's no rounding variation that can get this going unless James goes for Dark Magician, which seems pretty unlikely.
Meanwhile, that number 3 was that torch right there, a small key.
Four is a small key. 5 is the big key.
Whoa! Why? What is going on?
And there's another small key there as well. Who guessed 5 in the chat? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, it looks like Leslie.
5.
I think it was Leslie Pro. Was
No,
was
it was Phantom Thief Kai who guessed 5 first.
Well, congratulations to you.
Leslie Pro also did guess 5 though. And there was another one who guessed 5. Ramza. 3 people guessed 5. That I could see.
Well, what do they win for guessing 5?
Well, if the bot was working, they would be put on a leaderboard. Or at least the first person to guess would be on leaderboard. But unfortunately today, the game was sadly only for fun. But thank you for playing all the same, folks.
Well, we could give them a lifetime supply of randomizer seeds.
I suppose if we could, but they could just go to the website and get their own. There's the big key for James.
Alright, Pika took that little safety room there to get a little health and magic refill.
Alright, Gauntlet starting now for Pikapals. Stalfo's being a little bit of an annoyance here. And yes, both runners did find their one bow and spike cape. We don't know where the other one is. Could be up here in the top of Ganon's Tower for all we know. Could have been in Misery Mire, could have been in Ice Palace. Both dungeons were untouched.
Or it could have been on the pedestal too.
Could have been there as well. We'll find out. One way or the other. Could also have been in the rest of GT. We only saw Dark Magician Room and the Hope Room. We could have been in Rando Room. Could have been in the behind the Ice Armos. Could have been in the Compass Room. There's a lot of places that I think he could be, or that Silvers could be. Anyway, Gauntlet clear for Pikapals. Onto my favorite floor, the Wizard floor. Because you get to do stuff like that.
And if you like that, then wait, there's more.
Clean Wizard rooms.
So satisfying to pull those off.
Yes, I can agree. All right, final floor. Could have the silvers in one of these two chests. Pikapals ignoring it. James is right behind Pikapals on the Lambo floor. Gets the top of a magic. Well, they're trying to knock him off. Whoa! Almost did. Pikapals made a nice recovery, gets the spin, and that is down. Folder 2 down.
Nope.
And the scene ends how it starts. 300 rupees in the first and final and last chest. Both our runners checked.
Obviously, Pikapals hoping for a last-minute sword upgrade or silver arrows there. Without the silver arrows, both our runners are going to have to do silverless cannon. A slightly longer variation, but still very possible for runners like this.
Yeah, and with the one potion bottle that's there, we'll be fine. Nice triple there to start things off in that 2 fight. The differences here are fairly obvious, but all the doppelgangers cannot be hit, but they always shoot orange shots. So it's 5 hits now. One more hit will be guaranteed victory, and there we go. It is now time for Pikapals to fight the pig. Tempered sword in hand, 12 slashes or 6 spins for each of the first 2 phases of this fight, after which we'll be entering the stomping phase. One hit after a set amount of teleports. Both runners will have the same pattern, unless they fall or die. And then it's the darkness technique, in which the silverless strats come into play. Keep the torches lit, and then Ganon must be hit as soon as he begins teleporting. 12 spin attacks will be the end of Ganon. If we had silver arrows, which we don't know where they are, it would be stunning him with the sword while the light's on, and then 4 silver arrows. Great position for for phase 2.
Just like that, we're going to be on to the next phase.
This is the ground stomp phase. You'll know it starts when the trident disappears. This could still be James's. James could still pull out if Pikapals somehow falls, but it's very unlikely. Alright, where did Ganon say the silvers were? Ganon's tower! They were in the basement, or on one of the 2 chests. Getting the torch glitch, which, if you haven't seen that before, as if you light the left torch where the right torch goes out, the right torch will never go out. Speeds up this fight considerably and makes it a lot more magic efficient. We got at least 3 or 4 spins at this point. Basically, you can see for a very brief moment, Ganon raising his arms when he begins to teleport. That is the moment to strike him with the spin. We use spin attacks mainly because they are more consistent in hitting him.
And James is dropping into his Ganon fight.
And get your GZ chat for Pikapals. And folks, make sure to stay tuned to Speed Gaming 2, as these runners are not done yet. Their next race is coming up shortly, soon after this one. But get your GZ chat for Pikapals, who finishes this race with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 36 minutes, and 52 seconds.
All right, meanwhile, James is finishing off into phase 3 here, the teleporting phase.
So now, folks, because James has lost, in Game 2, James will have the option to change one of the settings to try to give himself an advantage in the second race, which again will be coming up in a very short amount of time. And Pikapals will be joining us, actually, it looks like.
Yeah,
So
let's just
bring him in.
let's just let James finish off here. He's got just a few more spins left. And there it is.
In chat for JamesFnX. Great and solid race. This really just came down to knowledge of where the Ether Medallion was. That's all there was to it. And JamesFnX finishing in second place in this race with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 38 minutes, and 54 seconds.
That is only a 2-minute, 2-second difference between his opponent. And so a valiant effort by James. And GG's to both of these runners, Pikapals and James. All right, now let's see if we can get Pikapals in here, talk about that first race.
Yes, we'll also get James in here when he gets in here. Pikapals, thank you for joining us, and congratulations on your win here. But it's only the first game, after all.
Hey, thanks.
And we now also have JamesFnX here as well. It really, GG's to you both, it really came down to Ether. That's all there was to it.
Yeah, that Ether was a bit of a rough spot.
It was indeed a rough spot, but your knowledge of knowing that it was at Lumberjack was what eventually gave you the lead, because James actually found the boots first. But instead of going to check going straight to Lumberjack Ledge, not knowing that Ether was there, or any of the medallions were actually, went to go clear Desert first. And then eventually go into Thieves Town, giving you that time advantage you needed to get your boots, get your Ether medallion, and clean up, and eventually just get ahead of them.
Yeah, it was kind of nice knowing in the back of my mind, oh, well, there's something that I'll maybe have to grab back here. Maybe someday I'll actually have the boots so I can grab it.
And this game was pretty much telegraphing Agra required from the get-go over how barren the light world was in general for you guys to start things out. 5 minutes in, you had nothing to show for it except a lamp.
Yeah, it's always really impressive when you get more 300 rupees than progression items in the first 10 minutes of the seed.
We found it interesting that you started the seed with 300 and you ended it with 300.
I know. No matter where you started, you would start with 300 rupees.
Yeah, that was Light World was really just barren, and I was looking to go to Aga as soon as I had a good reason to, and so as soon as I had the second sword, I already had Hookshot, I already had gloves, and I already had Moon Pearl. I'm just going. Like I didn't even touch Eastern at that point, but I had a feeling that like everything in this seed was pointing you to Aga, and I also knew that to beat Picam, I was gonna have to take some gambles and take some risks and try and find a better route.
Well, that it seems to work out for you because you led most of the entire seed. It was not until you went on that hunt for that ether medallion that Pika was able to pull ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And again, Pika had that information that it was on Lumberjack Ledge. And in fact, Pika actually found all 3 medallions in places you skipped. He found
Yeah.
either medallion was at Lumberjack Ledge. The last item in Escape in the back 3 chests was the Quake medallion, and you left Bombos behind in the Swamp Palace big chest.
Well, I'm glad I skipped those two because there's a decent chance Quake would have sent me on a real wild goose chase had Ether not shown up in the North Dark World checks.
Yeah, we were
Exactly.
worried. I was worried for a moment that you would actually have fallen for that trap. The book, of course, was also gave Pikapals the information that Desert was also hard boots locked as well.
Yeah. If only it had been any other medallion, I wouldn't have had to go looking for those boots.
Yeah.
But
Well, you
at
also
at
still
least
needed it for Desert, didn't you?
right,
Yeah.
yeah. Also that. But at least it kept me from ever entering Turtle Rock before I had to.
So, Pikapals, you're now up a game, and James, you get the opportunity to change a setting to try to twist things in your favor. What will you be doing in Game 2 to mix things up a bit?
Well, I think that Pika's a better executor than me. I think that I'm going to have to take some gambles and add some chaos to it. So we're going to add some shuffle to the mix of maps and compasses.
All right, so it'll be sort of
All
a key sandy light. No keys are shuffled, but information is harder to come by in terms of what dungeons are required. That might be in your favor. We'll see how it comes out in Game 2 here, which, again, both of you are going to be racing it again in, what, a half an hour from now?
Yeah.
And it's going to be right here as well, folks, on Speed Gaming 2, so stay tuned.
All right. Well, let's let these runners head off and take a water break, take a little bit of rest, and get ready for this next race, the MC Shuffle.
That's right. And, folks, your commentators for that race are going to be Brewers fan JP and Unfit here on Speed Gaming 2. So stay tuned, folks, and we're going to go ahead and sign off. We shall see you all next time. Oh, actually, later. But thank you for watching this race. Game 2 coming up in just a little bit, folks. You don't want to miss it.